Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. One of the most common questions that I get asked as a reader is, how do you read so much? And so I decided that I wanted to take a moment to sit down and answer that question, because there are several things that I do that I feel help me read a lot of books every year. Since 2020, when the pandemic first hit, I have gotten back into reading. What else was I supposed to do during quarantine? And since then, I have kind of just been on a non-stop roll. Even as life has kind of picked back up, reading has been a priority of mine, which it was not before 2020. So since 2020, I have read every year except 2023, over 200 books a year. 2023, I read 147. Reading, yeah, is just a priority of mine. And there are a couple of things that I do that I feel help motivate me and keep me on track, but also give me a space to read a lot of books every single year. So I have 5 things here. Are they all really helpful or anything extraordinary? Probably not, but these are 5 things that work for me, and I do find them helpful for anybody who is a reader or is wanting to get into reading. These are some things that I would recommend trying out if you have not already. The first thing that I have on my list is to prioritize reading for any number of minutes during the day. Whether that looks like reading for 5 minutes or reading for 3 hours. Reading anything at all during the day is very helpful. Prioritizing that time to get some type of reading done is going to be beneficial, and it's really just a really good starting place if you are new to reading for fun. I feel as though, for me at least, if I didn't read every single day, I wouldn't be getting books done as quickly. Whether I read for 15 minutes some day or a couple of hours another day, I'm always reading something every single day, and that definitely helps me get through my books faster. One of my 2024 goals is to read for at least 15 minutes a day. I do go through seasons during the year when life gets busy, school gets busy, work gets busy, and I don't read at all. And I do find that my stress gets higher when I'm not reading. So one of my specific goals for 2024 is to read for at least 15 minutes a day to help kind of relieve some of that stress. But also reading for any number of time every single day is definitely going to help you get through books that you have on your list to read. My second tip that I have for reading, for how I read 100+ books every year, is to always have access to some type of book, whether that be a physical book that you carry in your backpack to school or work, or a Kindle book that you have on your phone. I always have access to something. So if I'm standing in a really long line at the store, I a lot of times will pull out my Kindle app and I'll read something that I have on there that I've already started or wanted to start anyway. Or when my kids take a nap at work, I have a physical book with me almost always that I end up reading while they take a nap if I don't have to do homework. But I always have some sort of access to a book, either digitally or physically, that I can pull out, even if it's just reading 2 pages at a time. When I get a couple of minutes to do so, I do like having those options. The third thing that I do to help me get through so many books is to read multiple books at once in multiple formats. So a lot of times when I am reading throughout the year, I will have a digital book going, I will have a physical book going, and a lot of times I'll have an audiobook going that matches one of those 2 books. I do find that I engage and follow along and listen better when I have an audiobook going in my ears, but I also really like reading on my Kindle and my physical books, so I am always reading something in different formats. I have too many books on my TBR to not be doing this, and this process does not work for everybody, but I find that reading multiple books, especially when they are in different formats, keeps my brain organized, but also gives me time and the ability to get through multiple things at the same time, which in my head makes me feel like I finish more books in a faster amount of time, if that makes sense. At least in my brain, it works like that. My fourth tip, and this again does not work for everybody, and that is totally okay, but it works for me, so I wanted to mention it, it's just audiobooks. I mentioned that in my last tip like 2 seconds ago, but audiobooks have been a game changer in my life over the past 1.5 years or so. I used to be very, not anti audiobook, but very like neutral or very that doesn't affect me. I don't want to read them, so I'm not going to. Like, that was my mindset that I had toward audiobooks. But since I started listening to audiobooks, I have just flown through so many things. I would say that probably this year alone, or I guess 2023 when this video comes out, over half of the books that I read during the year were audiobooks, and probably more like 60 or 65% of those books were audio. I can do chores, clean up my room in my apartment while I listen to audiobooks. I can get ready for work or class while I listen to my audiobooks. I can drive while I listen to audiobooks. I can go for a walk or exercise. I can do multiple things at once when I'm listening to an audiobook, but I do still find myself engaging with what I'm listening to. So I love the fact that audiobooks help me multitask in everyday activities, but I can also get some reading done at the same time. I use Libby, Hoopla, Audible, and Spotify for my audiobooks, but I do know that there are some other formats or other apps that you can use for audiobooks as well. And then the last tip that I have that has honestly also been a big game changer for me over the last 2 or 3 years is reading sprints that happen on YouTube and or Discord. I personally love hosting live sprints because I am forced to be motivated in front of other people who are watching me, but just participating in them on Discord or just watching them on YouTube also is a really great motivating tool. I love getting to read with other readers and being able to do that in real time with them. It's a really great way to motivate myself to get some reading done, even if it's just, again, like for a little bit of time during the day. But there is almost always some sort of Discord server or YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to that is doing live sprints at any given time. Those are 5 tips that I have on how I read so much. They're nothing, again, super crazy or super new, but all of these elements, all of these 5 tips that I have that work together have allowed me to be able to read so many books every single year, which I love. I will say also I have no life, so that helps as well. I don't like going out. I go to work, I go to school. I have friends, but like I do also really enjoy staying inside my own apartment, my own space, so that also helps a lot. I'm not a huge people person, so I don't feel like I have to go out all the time with other people to like engage with the world, you know? So that also helps. But I just wanted to close out this quick video by saying or mentioning that reading is a hobby that looks different for everybody, and whether you read 1 book a year or 5 books a year or 50 books a year or 100 plus books a year, that is such an accomplishment. I grew up with the mindset that people thought that reading was not cool and that you were a nerd for being a reader. I have always loved books, and so I love being a part of a community of other readers who love to read and cheer you on no matter the number of books you read. So whether these tips help you or, you know, they don't work for you, I hope that you realize that you are doing great where you are as a reader already. You don't have to read 100 plus books every year to be a reader. Reading a couple books a year makes you a reader. Reading 1 book a year makes you a reader. The number of books that you read does not define your status as a reader, but these are a couple of tricks that have helped me over the past couple of years, as I have read a couple hundred books since 2020. That is all that I have for this video. If you have any fun reading tips that have helped you read more, feel free to comment down below and let me know what they are. I would love to hear any tips or tricks that you have. But thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one.